Well, good morning. It is Friday, April 17th, and I'm leaving the ship. I'm actually late leaving the ship, but I wanted to show you we're in Dover and the famous White Cliffs. So this is Dover. These are the White Cliffs. That is the town. Okay, there's more White Cliffs. Dover Castle is up there. There's a ferry because France is only like 20 some miles away, and more White Cliffs. All right, I'll see you on land. All right, I am out of the ship. I am now at the Dover Priory train station, waiting for my train to my next stop. So hang on and see. Okay, I'm gonna try this for a third time. So I made it on the train to my next stop. It's in about half an hour. It takes about a half an hour. So
the next station is Snowdown.
The next station is Snowdown. And then I'll show you my compatriots on the train. I've got like 4 chairs and a table to myself. That's kind of nice. And then there's my train car if you're interested in seeing my train car. All right, I have made it to Canterbury, and there's the old city walls. I'm on a footbridge over a highway and heading this way. All right, so I am walking to my hotel. I'm sure I won't be able to check in because it's not even 11 yet, but just walking through this beautiful public park. Oh, and I guess it was an old cemetery. All right, this is where I'm staying in Canterbury. It's in the middle of everything, close to everything. I'm up on the 3rd floor, but the steps to get you'd think there'd be one staircase in the middle, but clearly it was made from 2 houses, and the steps are steep. They're narrow, and my bag is really heavy. So I've been for the last 30 minutes trying to get in because nobody was in there, and it took like 15 minutes for somebody to answer me, and then another 20 minutes to get up the stairs. But it's okay, I'm up there now, and I hope I'm in the right room. All right, I am walking towards the cathedral, and I am in this great pedestrian zone with all kinds of shopping, banks, grocery stores, food halls. Yum. All right, continuing on. Like, there are just so many lovely places, and there's all kinds of booths set up that street. And Morelli's ice cream. I wonder if that's the same one that's in Atlanta. There is a Hotel Chocolate. There's one of those on Southport, not too far from where my son lives. It's a yummy place. And I love the buildings. So much food. Oh my gosh, what a great, great city. All right, and I think I have found the way. Jeez. I think I've found the way to the cathedral. And there is Canterbury Cathedral, considered England's first cathedral. I'm rushing because I booked a guided tour that leaves in 5 minutes. So there we go. Whoa. Okay, I am inside. Oh. Again, it makes me want to read that book by Ken Follett, Pillars of the Earth, that talks about cathedral building in England. So this is amazing. This water tower was built in the 1100s, and it's Norman. I'm going to walk through the cathedral after my guided tour is done and show you everything. And this was where the monks used to live before it was destroyed by Henry VIII. But the arches are still there. You can see the arches. The Norman. Oh, sorry about the finger. The Norman arches. And these are the walls of the old, it was an Augustinian monastery founded by Saint Augustine, not of Hippo, but of Canterbury. And the bombing during World War II destroyed not the cathedral, but part of it. So this was rebuilt. Wow. And this is a completely separate building or area of the cathedral.
Was almost the last major part to be built, finished by 1505. Designed by John Wastell, very tall. If you look up,
Wow.
you've got some elegant. You see the centre, the little
Elegant
blue
fan
circle with the white
vaulting.
cross. That bit is 6 feet across, 2 meters across.
Oh, geez.
So,
All right, this is the choir, and it's massive. It's as big as a lot of churches.
so there's gold, silver.
This
precious
was where the
jewels.
shrine of
And,
Thomas Becket
also,
was.
the pilgrims used to come up the steps, down the steps.
King
on
Henry
their knees.
VIII destroyed
And also, can you see between these two 1100s, early 1200s, and this shows events after the crucifixion of Christ, which is at the bottom.
These are
And then
called
the
the
window to
redemption
left is a
windows.
Jesse tree, which shows.
And these windows, we are still in the choir, show the different miracles that were attributed to Thomas Becket, called miracle windows. And these are windows that were done in 1956. And to the right is Christ welcoming every kind of person into his kingdom, no matter their color, no matter where they came from. And on the left are people escaping. The black doors represent unfair imprisonment. So these windows were date from 1111, I believe she said. They're some of the oldest windows from that time period. Very cool. Okay, I have left the cathedral. I am on the streets of Canterbury, going back to my guest house because I put my bags in the wrong room. All right, this is my room. And then I have my own bathroom. I actually have to go out in the hall, but it's very nice. It'll do the job, but it's the steps, and you can come with me on the journey. I have to go up these steps. Now, the room I thought I was in was up here, and I gotta tell you, the steps are very little. My bag is very heavy. So now I have to go here and then down these steps, which are extremely narrow. Okay, so I went down those steps. There's 2 more steps. And then there's another staircase that goes down to the ground floor. So yeah, I'm staying fit. The nice thing about my guest house, they were actually very nice. I'm 5 minutes to the cathedral, a 5-minute walk, so it's fantastic location. Just a lot of steps, And here we have the Canterbury Tales immersive experience, which is actually the reason I wanted to come to Canterbury. We did Canterbury Tales in high school. And we actually, I don't know how we did this, but the group I was with, our project, we did a video on it. And that was in 1970. So I guess someone had an old movie camera. Okay, our guide, Ian, said everything on this side of the street is 500 years old, and everything on this side of the street is 30 years old. So, the guide in the cathedral said anytime a building has windows in the second floor, it was probably a weaver's home. But this is Butchery Lane, where butchers were. So, I don't know. So down this street, way down this street, there's a clock tower, an old clock tower. That whole part of the city was destroyed in World War II by the Germans. All right, and he talked about, it looks like brick, but these are actually tiles. They're called mathematical tiles, and they're very unique to this part of England. Interesting. So our guide said the Hotel Chocolate was an actual hotel 500 years ago for pilgrims, as was the Pret a Manger. This was also a lodging for pilgrims. I say hotel, but lodging. As was this. This was built by the monks, so you can see the arches. So interesting. So we are walking around the cathedral with our guide, and there is this sculpture of a horse.
Some buildings were given to
So these are the remains of the infirmary that was part of the monastery. So it dates to the 1100s.
adjacent to it.
This is the Norman staircase
12th century, see the
from the
believe
1100s.
it or not, the top floor is Victorian.
And
Normally when the Victorians built in a replica
this
style,
is
they got
also
the-
Norman, 11th
adopted the
century.
Norman style
They
to
said
fit in
this
below.
is Victorian. They added a second floor in the Victorian era. And this was the original entrance, 11th century entrance to the monastery with that Norman arch. All right,
Can you
this
see
is
those
the
two floors have got a continuous row of windows?
famous
That
leaning,
indicates the building was used for weaving. So the
famous
windows let
leaning
good light in
house,
above the loom.
the most photographed
And the
house
workers would
in
have slept on the
Canterbury.
top floor.
All right, this house is from the 1100s. It was built in the 12th century. This is the house that the four knights who killed Thomas Becket came when they first got to Canterbury. They had a drink and food. Then they went across the street, which is, this is not the original building, but that's where the Archbishop's house was. Tried to negotiate with him to agree with the king. No go. They came back to this house, got their armaments, went back. The Archbishop had left, got into the cathedral. They followed him into the cathedral and killed him. And we'll see that. I'm going back in the cathedral for Evensong, and I'll film where Thomas Becket was murdered. All right, we are crossing this bridge, and there is this delightful little canal. Beautiful. Huh. And then this is the Marlowe Theater. Okay, there was another friary down here.
And the friaries closed down.
And there's a punting boat. This is the Stour River.
And if you do take a
And then we have the Canterbury Tales pub. I love that.
Been
All
going
right,
over 90
this
minutes
is
now. Do you
a
want to stop here, or do you want to do
statue.
one or two more?
This is a tribute to Christopher Marlowe.
We can continue. Continue a bit longer.
And there's a lot of conspiracy theories about him that I learned on this trip. Interesting. And here we have another punting boat coming down. Okay, this is Ian, our guide. And I had to stop because this is Chaucer. The Canterbury Tales Chaucer. So I love it. And just so many really amazing, cool buildings. But I'm heading back to the cathedral. This was the chapter house for the monks. And the ceiling is just so beautiful. The ceiling, he said, is made of Irish oak. Or, I'm sorry, our guide this morning, she said was Irish oak. And then, so this is where the monks would gather and figure out who was doing what that day. And she said they had to stand, except the older monks could sit on these kind of step things. Anyway, it's a huge space. She also said this chair here is from the original chapter house. So that would date to like 12th century. And then this window were all famous people. You can see Henry VIII. There's Thomas à Becket. Down at the bottom right is Queen Victoria. So obviously this was made in the Victorian era. And then this window was about the lives of the people in the other window. So you can see like Queen Victoria's coronation at the bottom right. Yeah, so it was quite interesting. So this does not look impressive. It's the 3 Tons pub, but it lies on the site of the ancient Roman theater, which is pretty cool. And actually my hotel is right down the street. So, but you can kind of see the curve in the road, in the building. So those Romans, they were everywhere. Okay, I mentioned how the stairs, I showed you the stairs to get to my room, but my room is actually lovely. It's huge as well, not what you might expect. Yeah, it's a lovely room. Okay, this is the clock tower that our guide was talking about that was left. All this area around here was bombed. And this is one of the surviving, I guess, medieval parts of Canterbury, of this end of the city, because it was bombed so heavily and so much was destroyed. Going back to the cathedral, down the Butcher's Way. And I'm sorry if some of this stuff is duplicating. I would say the last time I sat down was on the train, but that's not true. I sat down for a couple minutes, a couple different times today, but not much. So I know I filmed this earlier, but the sun has decided to come out in the afternoon, and the cathedral is positively glowing. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Blue skies. Even though I had to wait most of the day, it's still wonderful. And that looks like a delightful pub, the Bell and Crown Free House. But I am heading down to a different one. And this is one that my sister and brother-in-law recommended, so I'm making a special trip. All right, and this is that crooked house. It's even better with the door closed. You can really tell how crooked it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the Parrot pub. The lights are on, but it sure doesn't look open. And there's like nobody here, so I probably won't stay. But it was established in 1370. And it's one of the oldest pubs in Canterbury. All right, I have made it inside. Here's all their ale. It is actually kind of cool. Love it. Here's a little nook. And they have iron ore. Okay, well, I got fish and chips and another huge piece of fish. I got a lovely ale. It's actually delicious, and it's really low gravity. So I am in a little area with the guys. All right, I am on my way back to my hotel. There may be another stop, but Ian, our guide today, was saying that the monks really wanted their own gate. So this was the gate that was built. And so you've got okay, there's my finger. You've got the Tudor rose there. And then next to the Tudor rose is the coat of arms of, I can't remember. Anyway, he talked about all the coats of arms, the ones with the crowns on them, and they were all significant. But again, in the sunshine, it all looks amazing.